Hola, boa noite, you amazing people. Happy Thursday, Feliz Quinta-feira. It is I, Krishan Wright. I am the founder of Black Global and the host of the Black Global podcast, coming back for season 8 in January 2026. I am so happy to be here, so happy to be seen. So glad that you guys are here to help me celebrate 2 years in Portugal. There, yesterday it was mostly in celebration. Obviously, most of you have seen the news and know that by late evening, our time, things had turned tragic for many of the men, women, and children who were in the Barrio Alto, Restauradores area and were either killed or injured or witnessed the horrific funicular accident. There is still information coming in about those that are injured and those that have been killed, including the nationalities of those people. So far, we know that there were some Portuguese as well as German and Italian nationals, but information is still coming in. As you can imagine, we're about 24 plus hours out from the incident. So many of you have traveled to Portugal in the past few years or recently and have been to that area. You've seen the funicular. You may have ridden it, as I did earlier this year with our Nomad Noir cohort. And so, we have heavy hearts here. The country is in a period of mourning for the next 3 days. Certainly, even once 3 days have passed, the impact of what has transpired is going to stay with us for a long time, because this is the most tragic incident that has happened in Portugal in recent memory. And so I know many of you have sent emails and messages and comments on the socials inquiring about where I am or if I'm safe or anything. I am safe. Thankfully, I was home. But again, a heavy heart for all of those impacted, and definite gratitude for all of your love and support and inquiries, because that really meant a lot. So with that said, I'm going to segue and say hello to y'all in the chat. Hey, how are you? And I don't even know how my colors changed, because they were normally yellow. And then when I hit the button, everything changed to blue. I don't understand, but I had no time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, yes. And I expect that a lot of comments are going to be about that, as it should, right? Thank you. Yes. Wow. Hey, how are you? Travel is my passion. Hey, Kim in ATL. Hey, K Renee, how y'all doing? Yes, prayers up. We should all be grateful, right, for the lives that we have, because the people that were out and about yesterday were either on holiday or going about their day-to-day as residents, and their lives changed dramatically. And so that's definitely, a reminder. Love the ones that you have and be grateful for every day. Hey, Patricia. Hey, Venus. Yes, it's 2 years. I cannot believe, and I can't wait to tell you more about the past 2 years. Hey, Harlem Minded. Buenas tardes y felicidades. Yes, yes. All right. Hey, roaming around Allison Rowe. I love it. How you doing? Hey, 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 Maria. How are you? Hey, Stacy. Yeah, that is iconic. That is iconic. Sim. Hey, hi, Sandy. How are you? Yeah, no, I understand what you meant. Yes. Hey, show about nothing. Yes, absolutely. Please keep them in your hearts. Keep them in your prayers. It's been all over the news, and a lot of people have some strong attachment to Portugal, and that's been evident in posts that I see in different news outlets. So this story has this tragedy really is impacted so many. Hey, peaceful self. Yes, absolutely. Hello, Maria. Yes. Yes, Bailey just arrived about 10 minutes ago. She's been at the groomer all day. I was like, ooh, is she gonna get here before I gotta go live? My peace. Hey, how you doing, girlfriend? Hello, Greta, channel member. Hope you're doing well. Yes. Sending prayers and condolences. So we did, I got messages literally from people all over the world. Yesterday, friends from Spain and Indonesia, not just the celebratory of my 2 years, but obviously, like I said, as the evening progressed, those messages changed. And at the time, because I'm about to jet about here in the morning, and I was getting a massage, right? So my masseuse came over for a late massage because I had, a housekeeper and I was doing stuff. And so she was here, and I had my phone on silent while I was getting my massage on. And so when I checked my phone, maybe close to 10 at that point, I saw all the messages, and I was like, what is this? And and some of the messages hadn't attached the article, so I had no context to reply. I was just like, what do you mean? Am I okay? Yeah, I just had a massage. And then as I was, going through the messages, I was like, oh, wait, let me catch up to what has transpired. Everything kind of, just froze, really. Like, how do you bounce back from that? And so I was on the other side of Príncipe Real area, Ratu area earlier today. On the other side is where you would see the Miradouro. It's actually my favorite overlook of the city. And I spent many time drinking sangria over there, many pictures. And so I intentionally avoided, that part of the city just because, I know it's a lot of activity in forensics that obviously need to happen over the course of days and weeks. But definitely, sending love and energy to, like I said, all those impacted, their families, their friends, and those of us around the world who are holding them in our hearts, right? So that's very important. So on to 2 years, right? So September 2nd, 2023, in the evening, I boarded a plane with Bailey Girl, and we took a night flight over to Portugal. And I arrived first flight of the morning on September 3rd. And man, if I wasn't like opposed to heebie-jeebies, I'd have kissed the ground. Because I was like, eyes free. Okay, eyes free. Euphoria, I was tired, of course, but I flew first class. So I had like the lay flat seats, and at Portugal, that flight, like it was as bougie could get. I loved every minute of it. The food was exceptional. The service was great. The white tablecloth, the little, everything. So it was an amazing freedom flight. For those of you who are interested, I do have like a short showing the whole process. But now, 2 years under my belt, it feels like the past 2 years I have been on vacation. So I wrote a blog post about it. It's on the Blacks Global website for those of you who want to give it a read, kind of about some of what has transpired in the past 2 years. Obviously, some of you who are here are Blacks Global Passport members, either past and present. Some of you who have made your journey steps to Portugal. I am so honored to have been a part of, however big or small, the inspiration, the information to help you get to where you are now, right? To get from where you are now to where you want to be. And you have to, the biggest lesson that I think I've learned um, is courage, right? Courage to leave the familiar, to go into the unknown. Um, as of late, vulnerability for sure. But when we step into that, and sometimes, not sometimes, I think all of us at some point in life, we're called to um, ascend to a higher timeline, right? Or a higher version of ourselves. And sometimes we're fearful of doing that. We aspire for something or to something, but for whatever reason, conditioning, negative self-talk, old tapes in the background of your mind, old wounds that haven't really healed, we can hold ourselves back. But I am very grateful that in the midst of a global pandemic, with the all of America being on fire, right? With the murders of Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, that I did not allow myself to go deeper into the depression I was experiencing, that out of nowhere, I bought a microphone and started pinging people around the world who didn't know me and who I didn't know, um, and asked them to share their story. And so their stories have been the wind beneath my wings. They have served as the backdrop, not only for my journey, but for others, wherever you are in your journey step. It's just been so profound. Not to mention the media attention and all of the things that have followed and all the things that are to come, right? And so I started Blacks to Global 5 years ago. I started it when I was living in New Jersey. I had not lived abroad, although I had been traveling for 3 years at that point. And especially those first 12 that made their moves to Portugal with me, I was like, ooh, y'all are so trusting. Right. But I've helped people move to Spain and Vietnam and, other places around the world. And don't discount community. Don't discount the need to get in. Don't let, the cost, which full transparency, Black's Global Passport will be increasing, as we're doing some enhancements in the coming months. And don't let that hold you back, because you're investing in yourself. You can't move abroad. You can't move anywhere, let alone move abroad for free, right? And so part of what you're doing is your investment in yourself, your investment in making moves, and also your investment in getting to the right answer or answers that much faster, right? You don't have to post in different groups and then try to crowdsource information and then try to distill it. You don't have the proper filter through which to decipher that, right? And so, we have workshops, accountability groups. We'll have a course, which is one of the enhancements that are coming soon, where we're going to be integrating more resources into Passport, because obviously with the current administration and their relentless assault on Black people, on Black history, on the 315,000 Black women who have lost their jobs in the past 6 months, the assault on our history at the Smithsonian and other places. It is at a critical mass. The intent is to ensure that any strides that we have made, of which there have been many, since our inception, but let alone from the civil rights movement forward, that those will not come and be as monumental, right? It is to ensure that we have a permanent underclass. Prior to all of this activity, sadly, the net worth of Black Americans was supposed to be projected to reach a negative net worth by, I think it was 2030 was a stat, I think it was, few years back. And, we have Black billionaires, we have, affluent Black people at every level, but regardless of wealth, right? We're the innovators, we're the originators, we're the trailblazers. And when you look at the Blaxit movement, this movement is in history. It's going to be embedded in the timeline, right? When they look at all the things that have happened in, Black American history, the Jim Crow, segregation, chattel slavery, right? The Great Migration. My mother went up north from the South during the Great Migration. The Blaxit movement is part of that, right? So know when fear tries to sneak in, what? Baby, you stand on the backs of your ancestors. Come on, right? You survived 100% of your best days and 100% of your worst days. So you have a good track record, right? So I feel like that talk was more like a season 7 finale wrap than it was like the list, because I still didn't even get to my list of 15 things that I've learned. But like I said, y'all know me. Sometimes I get a little deep. Yes, Jess said, stand on Joshua 1. Yeah, chapter 1, verse 9. Yes. Hey, thank you. Yes, right? And I'm still in this apartment. I'm still in this apartment. Yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. Hit the like button. That's right. Muito obrigada. Yes, minha amiga. Oh my goodness. Okay, so because I said tonight, I gotta keep it tight because I got a plane catch and I gotta get up ridiculously early tomorrow. Oh, you know what? I didn't even put that up here. I was scrambling. I was trying to get Bailey and then get up here. I was scrambling. Okay, so 15 lessons. All right. Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, descending. I was like, what's the word? Oh, wait, before I do that, yeah. Let's before I do that, I gotta remind y'all of a few things. So we are having our 5-year anniversary yacht party. Yes, 5 years of Blaxit Global. There are a bunch of people flying in. So some people that have appeared on the podcast in the past or our YouTube channel. We have people coming in from Kenya, some popular guests. From Colombia, we have people coming from Mexico. We have people coming from Spain. We have people coming from the US. So it's a lot of people. So if you are interested in helping us celebrate in person in Lisbon, Portugal, I am going to drop the link so you can register for that. We are setting sail on the River Teju. For those of you who are like, I know some of y'all in the comments were at my birthday party when I turned 50, same yacht. So we will be setting sail, sunset cruise. We will be tasting Portuguese wines and some light bites, not a full dinner, like, just a little aperitif. But then the next night, 2 separate events, we have Stephanie Perry and Rashida Dow, the co-creators and co-founders of Exodus Summit, will be in Lisbon, Portugal. We will be celebrating our Exodus Summit family, and that is a dinner. So the price of that includes your your appetizer, entree, and dessert, and the drink. And what else can I tell you? Those of you who sign up for those events, we have Blaxit Global merch. We have not had merch in years. We have a tote and a shirt. If you are interested in purchasing those, I will do another reminder, not during the week that I'm away, because I'm going to be on vacation. I'm off the grid for a week. Please do not send me emails. But I will be off the grid. But place your orders, right? But I am not shipping anything. You have to be here at one or both of those events to get your stuff. Sorry, because I can't have all this stuff in my house. So, okay. No, it'll be, I don't know. Like in the evening, will it be, let me put this up so you guys can see. Will it be sweater weather? I mean, we're going to be on the water. The good thing about the yacht is it's indoor, outdoor. So that it's an expensive yacht, which worked really well for my birthday because maybe halfway through the party it rained, but we were able to go inside and like have a great time. So I would say bring a jacket just because it's fall in Lisbon, but at the same time, we're going to be inside on the yacht if the weather changes in any real way. And at the other event, I just had dinner last week, so we had, they didn't have them on, but I saw the heaters in that space. So, and we have the whole entire restaurant to ourselves. Yay, because y'all know me, I love immersive events. Okay, now I got to get to the list. Okay. Got to keep myself focused. Okay. So you can survive without a dryer. I have learned. I have been here 2 years. I have yet to go to the laundromat. I finally this year went to the dry cleaner a few times because I had some linen outfits that I had made in Vietnam that needed to, be laundered. But outside of that, nope. Especially in the summertime. We're coming out of summer now, but when we were in those 80s and 90-degree weather and I had the AC going and stuff, I put my stuff on the balcony. Man, I was doing 2 and 3 loads a day. What? Couldn't tell me nothing. But yeah, I do laundry like every other day. It doesn't bother me. Granted, I live alone, so it's not overwhelming. But yeah, it's economical. It's better for the environment, so I love it. Number 2, I learned this again yesterday. ATMs having money is optional. So yesterday, I had a busy day yesterday. It was a lot of pampering and celebrating my anniversary. And so had to get cash out and to pay my masseuse. And don't you know the ATM had no money? And it was like maybe 30 minutes before she arrived. And I had to run to the store and get some things for Bailey and then go back into the apartment. I'm like, oh, if I go to the other ATM, which is a 6-minute walk, I'm like, that's kind of too close. So luckily that we have a thing called MBWay. I was able to, send the money to her. But yeah, it's happened quite a few times. ATMs having money. Or not, right? It's not something that you actually encounter a lot in America, but it happens quite frequently in Europe. Yes, you don't need a car. I have been 2 years without a vehicle. And I have to say, I enjoy it, right? I don't miss the expense. The maintenance, gas in Europe or Portugal, let's say specifically, is expensive AF. Oh my gosh. I think I rented a car last week. And I believe it was $1.67 per liter, not per gallon, metric system, per liter. So that was close to, if not $7 a gallon. Baby, you ain't getting me out there. You ain't catch me out there. I rent cars. So I've rented cars. Now they know me, like when I come. But in the off season in Portugal, I mean, in the past, I've rented a car for 17 euros for the day. But we have, Ubers here. Ubers have been getting a little challenging, some of the drivers. So it's kind of pushed me to a point where I've considered buying a car. Because it's not like I can't afford it. It's just like I have to park and all this other stuff. Traffic. No, it's okay. I'll pass. Cooking from scratch. Oh my gosh, the joy of cooking. My cooking habits have changed because before I left the States, I had my daughter in the house with me. And now it is me and Bailey, right? We don't eat the same food. So my cooking has adjusted somewhat. And one of the things that I had to get used to here is in the States, right? Let's say I wanted chicken Alfredo. I would, get the chicken, the broccoli, the onions, garlic, all that stuff. And then I'd go to the supermarket and get a jar of Classico, whatever, throw that in there, and there we go. Not so easy here. Whether it's tomato sauce, and this might differ because some of you might be in neighborhoods with a variety of stores, but in my community, I have, I think it's Sofitel, I don't know. This store, Supportel, Continent, Lidl, and Pingo on the other side, Pingo Dos. But they don't have all that stuff. No, what? Pre-made tomato sauce? When I first got here, could not find. Started going to Lidl. That's where I was getting the pre-made sauce. And just tomato, right? Nothing else. And so now occasionally I'll see, like, they had salsa and stuff like that. But when I first got here, I was like, what? They'll sell the components. Like, we'll sell you a jar of tomatoes. And so when I made chicken Alfredo a couple months back, I had to look up the recipe. Like, okay, Parmesan cheese, grating all the cheese, getting the butter and stuff. And so it's made me a more intentional cook because I have to think ahead about, the ingredients that I'm using. Obviously, most of them are clean because I'm in the European Union and affordable. But yeah, just patience and just the willingness to experiment has been really good. So I've been enjoying cooking. Learning the language. Woo, baby. So now I'm official as of February. Oh, wait, did I have? Yeah, I can't get it right now. My A1, A2 certification. I was going to pull it out, but then that's too much. A1, A2 certification in Portuguese. And I was so proud of myself the other day. I had to resubscribe. I don't know if I told the story. I had to resubscribe to, let me start with the hands, to Vodafone, who's my provider. And they had tried calling to tell me about the new promotion for the 24-month contract, but apparently they can, only by law, they have to tell you, like, the terms and conditions and all that stuff, the offer in Portuguese. So I was like, ooh. And so he's like, oh, I was like, fala English. He's like, he's like, I do, but I can't tell you this in English. By law, I have to tell you this in Portuguese. So I was like, oh, okay. So fine. So I get an email and it says, what the new offer is. So I'm like, okay, hit the button and we'll connect you to an agent. So I'm like, oh, I can ask an agent to give me an agent that speaks English. And I hit the button. Literally, they called instantaneously. I was not prepared for that. Lady didn't speak English. And then I was like, I'm feeling myself with my little A1, A2. I'm like, come on, sis, lay it on me. I was like, fala mais devagar, right? Speak very slowly, right? If you speak slowly, I can understand you. So she went through the whole offer, 170 channels, unlimited cell phone data, right? Unlimited cell phone data, 170 channels. Oh, high-speed internet, landline, which I don't use, and 24 months of either Amazon Prime, HBO Max, or Disney Channel, right? So I chose Disney Channel. What? Why? I don't have babies anymore. My son is turning 25 next week. My daughter is turning 20 the week after. What was I thinking? So now she puts me on hold and I'm like, oh shit, what the hell was I thinking? So now I have to tell her, oh my gosh, like, pecha desculpa, like I need to make a change in mudar. And so I'm like, ooh. So she gets back on, I explain in Portuguese. She's like, oh, no big deal. I'll make the change back. Just got to put you on hold for a few more minutes. Sure, no problem. She changes it, comes back. I'm like, all right, Krishan, you're doing good, girl. Right? Till the end. So, all of these things that I mentioned for 58 euro per month, 58.9. So, which is crazy. And, my phone works in, EU countries. Like I'm going to Spain tomorrow and my phone will be my phone. I don't have no roaming or nothing. And she says, ter alguma dúvida. Ter alguma dúvida. I'm like, what? So I'm like, oh no. So she says it. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is that? Now, mind you, I'm in front of my computer. Why? I did not Google in that instance, but a couple seconds later, it clicked like, Google the damn word, girl. And so she was asking, do I have any doubts? So they won't ask you like, oh, do you have any more questions or anything I can answer? They'll say the way they phrase it is, do you have any doubts? And then when I saw it says doubts, I'm like, oh, that's right. That's how they say it. I'm like, oh, no, I'm good. But I was so proud of myself. And now I've decided to kick it up a notch by introducing Spanish, which I took when I was younger, but I'm 51 now. It's been a minute. So now my brain has so many languages, but it's good. It's good because we talk about mental health, we talk about physical health and all those things, but your neuroplasticity, we talked about that a few weeks ago on this channel. Brain health is so important. And so I am very happy for the challenge of language learning. Number 6, life without Amazon. Woo, baby. We have Amazon Spain. I ordered from there twice last year. Yeah, twice. It was, when you're coming from the Americas and you can order something and 2 hours later it's at your door, or I'm going to the States after I get back from my vacation, I'm going to the States. I have some things that I need to order online from Amazon so that I can take back with me because, it's easy. But here it's coming from a whole different country. Things get delivered. They don't tell you that it got delivered. Then you got to figure out, okay, if this doesn't work or fit or isn't what I expected, it's a whole nother hassle. They have Amazon Germany too, because those are two. But we don't have Amazon Portugal. If we did, it probably would be a slightly better service experience, but I have just learned to go without. But it's been liberating. No drug commercials equals mental peace. I don't watch a lot of television here. Maybe like once a month, I'll turn on the news just to kind of see what's going on. But one of the things that I have been very happy about is not being inundated with drug commercials or just advertisements in general. It just is mind clutter. In the US, we are heavily marketed to and targeted. Every time you go on social media, there's these little ads or interstitials. Hey, you're watching me, whether live or on the replay, you might get an ad, right? I mean, I appreciate you watching the ad because that helps support the channel. Nevertheless, it is still an interruption, right? It's a disruption. And it is very nice to enjoy something and not feel like it's an opportunity to take money out of my wallet. I've been talking for a minute. Let me go over to the chat. I'm just going to start a couple things. Yeah, Sim O said, what? Yeah, love not having a car. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Yeah, no car, no insurance. Hey, Keith. I am doing well. I was home. Hey, Mary. I'm glad you're tuning in from Mexico. Yes, I am safe and thank you. Yes. Um, let's see, where did I leave off? 7. Okay, I'm almost halfway there. Calm nervous system is real peace. Whew. I think the first month I was here, I slept for a good month. Like I was doing things as I moved here with 3 suitcases and Bailey, had 1 piece of furniture. So literally everything that's in my apartment has been bought. Very little brought over here because I only had my podcasting equipment. It was the only thing I had shipped. And so, you know, that first month was really my body reacting to not being at like high alert all the time. You know, we wear armor, we wear masks, we are ready, right? Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And to be in a place, to be in a country, which is the 6th or 7th safest country in the world out of 195 countries, there's just this level of peace that I just want for everybody, right? And so it has been beautiful to have my slow mornings, to take naps during the day, to, let the day pass and not feel like, oh, I didn't accomplish something. I did, I rested, right? And so that is true peace. Opening your heart in new ways changes how you connect and love. Yeah, that has been interesting. And like, piggybacks off of the one before. When you're allowed to rest, you can focus on healing. All of us that have made this decision to move, whether you have made your black sit or you're in the process, regardless of whether or not it's tomorrow, 2 years, what have you, there's so much that we have experienced either directly from our time in the US or indirectly, ancestors, parents, siblings, etc. And then collectively, right? The systemic racism, right? And right now, especially, it's a whole on assault. And so it can make you closed off in a lot of ways. And certainly in my life, I was closed off for a lot of my life, friendships, etc. And now being able to blossom in this new environment, to do things that light my soul up, to pursue passion, to allow myself to be seen, is something beautiful. And so I am very excited about, that part. So it can change. It can change. Slow living makes better health choices so much easier. One of the things that I love about what I've experienced over the past 2 years is having greater control over my health. I know I talked earlier about being able to cook, but beyond that, I recommitted recently to reformer Pilates again. I have a new studio that I go to. It's dynamic Pilates. They use a trampoline, which is way easier on my knees. And so that has, in addition to taking a GLP-1, has allowed me to have greater control over not only my health, the effects of perimenopause. Of course, I'm under the supervision of my doctors, and what I like about it is I have greater control over my health and my healthcare decisions. I pay $1,300 a year, I think, for health insurance, private health insurance here in Portugal. Our public healthcare system is free. I've not used the public system, but like the other day, I realized like my walk was a little funny, and I was like, oh, you know what? I need to make an appointment to see the podiatrist and get fitted for some orthotics. I haven't had them in a couple of decades. But I put that off for years. But I was like, oh, wait, I'm here. I was like, click a button, set my appointment. What's that visit going to cost me? Like 15 euro, 20 at most. So I don't have that fear like I did in the United States. It's in 2022, in April of 2022, I had to have emergency surgery. And I was in the hospital for 4 days. It was $38,000. And I had quote unquote good health insurance, and I still got stuck with 6,000, right? I mean, thankfully, I was a high earner, didn't love the idea about forking over $6,000. But thankfully I had it. And it just made me like remember, like, it's time to go. And it was like my worst fear, because I was like, I just need to leave. And like anything, start falling apart with my body, like let that happen once I'm going. No, my body was like, I got other plans. But yeah, it's, whether it be Pilates or, having conversations with my healthcare team, or like a concierge service like Serenity, it has been very good. It has been very good. 11, patience and flexibility are everything. Woo, baby. You have to dig deep sometimes. Because, right, I'm an immigrant here. And I moved to a country. I didn't really know anybody, not that many people, right? Didn't have a deep connection to the culture, didn't have a deep, understanding of language. I'm still, I've never been in a situation, even when we got stranded on the side of the road, like where I can't have, like, absolutely could not, get anywhere. But it has been a lesson in patience, right? 6 months I had to wait for my residency card. Many of us are in the process of renewing our residency. I still have until next year, but new mandates require different documents, and the process isn't as smooth as one would like. It can be protracted and ridiculously complicated for absolutely no reason. Like, I'm convinced like it's somebody's job to make something more complicated than it needs to be. And so you have to pack your patience. You have to be flexible. The same thing with, like, when I used to order furniture, but I'm not in that stage anymore. But when I first moved here and I was ordering furniture, and then they'd be like at the door and I'm on another side of town, I'm like, I didn't know it was being delivered. They're like, oh, it's here. We're leaving. We'll come back. When you come back? Oh, I don't know. So it's just been interesting that, like, culturally, they get paid the wage they get paid. They get their 6 weeks of vacation, and they're not pressed about, trying to, work on that Sunday, work that extra shift to get that money. Like, it's slow days in the parks. It's long walks along the river. It's watching the sunset. It's enjoying life. And so it's allowed me to slow down and move differently. Gratitude has definitely shifted my perspective. A lot of what we talked about at the top of this was not only my gratitude for making the decision to leave, and certainly for all of you who have, been sources of support. I may have been the source of inspiration, but your emails, your messages, you're showing up, you're watching these videos, you're listening to the podcast, you're being members either of the channel or Blacks Global Passport, or coming to the events. It's reciprocal. And I don't want anyone to think that it is not appreciated. And so, there are often days, I would say at least one day of the week, it happens to me where something will happen. And it's, to anyone else, probably would be like mundane. And I am just like, I love my life. Like, I verbalize that out loud. Like, I was going into the supermarket the other day, and I forgot what it was. I don't know if it was an exchange. Oh, yes. I saw one of my neighbors who was an older gentleman. He was walking the dog, but then I noticed past 2 times I've seen him recently in the past week or so, he was in a scooter. And I was like, oh, and he's asking me how I'm doing, it's Portuguese. And I went into the store and I was just like, I love my life. Like just that exchange of just, seeing how I am, seeing how he is. Just was like gratitude for that. Gratitude, right? So many things to be grateful for, but it shifts your perspective on what's important. And certainly, the events of, yesterday has shifted many of us and reminded us that life is fragile. This is your only life. This is not a dress rehearsal, right? And so you are the captain of your life, right? And you famously quoted as live life by design and not by default. So don't put off the things that you think could literally change the trajectory of your life, right? Making the decision to grab a mic, ping people all over the world that I didn't know and ask them to talk to me. That was a leap for them. It was a leap for me, but look at all the blessings that have followed. Coming here, my daughter just started this week, her 3rd year in college. Oh my gosh, right? Next year, we are senior year. Where did that time go? And I had people, oh, you're leaving your kids and your blah, 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 your mom and da. Everybody's good. I'm going to see my son. I haven't seen my son in 2 years. I'm excited to see my babies. But I also think that my connections to all of them, my siblings have been here a couple times. My daughter's been here several times. I think that it has enhanced my relationship in more ways, right? Because it goes back to some of the things I mentioned earlier about opening my heart space and, I'm showing up differently, right? There is a transformation that has happened in this time. And so it's allowed me to have deeper relationships. It's allowed me to have a more realistic opinion of my home country for sure, and so with that, it's gratitude. And I also, as much as I am critical, rightly so, of a lot of America, what it has done and what it continues to do, I also know that I would not have been here, were it not for, certainly the jobs that I've had, especially probably from 2018, no, 2009, 2008 forward. And the, mechanisms that, whether it be the stock market or whatever, that have allowed me to be financially independent, the knowledge. So that's not lost on me, but what I have learned is to be grateful for what lessons that there are, decide what I'm going to keep, decide what I'm going to let go, and whether it is something that is that causes loss or gain, everything is a lesson. So, number 13, freedom is priceless. Woo, baby. Like I said, I'm an immigrant living in Portugal, and yet I don't worry about a lot. I don't worry about ICE agents or immigration or AMA, knocking at my door. I don't worry when I take Bailey out if I'm coming in late, 2:00 in the morning, or like last night, she wanted to go out and it was like probably close to 1:00. I was in my PJs. I'm like, go downstairs. Like, I'm not worried about somebody bopping me upside the head. I've sat in the park with my daughter eating ice cream and gelato at like 11:00 at night. And, 2 benches down is an older gentleman, like his 70s or 80s, right? Freedom to move about, freedom to host these wonderful events, right? I'm not low key in the back of my mind thinking, oh, they're not gonna let me do this because I'm black or I'm black woman, or all of those things that like I had to this decision tree that was always running in the background. The freedom to go to different countries, right? I'm a resident of the European Union. I have freedom of movement. We don't have borders within the member states. So tomorrow I'm getting on a plane, going to Spain, and I will fly domestic because I am getting on a plane. I will get off. I will get my luggage. I don't have to go through passport control and all that other stuff. No, I lives here. So, freedom of speech. But in America, there is freedom with asterisks, freedom with air quotes. We've seen, with some of the horrific things that have happened with ICE raids. We've seen it with a lot of the things that have happened, the war on Ukraine, certainly with, excuse me, what's going on in Gaza, and, Israel's relentless pursuit of, genocide against the Palestinians, and people who have lost their jobs for saying anything because in order to silence them, they have been labeled as an anti-Semite, right? When in reality, what you're doing is you're conflating two separate things. I can be against the policies and government of a nation, but not against a people, right? And so, what has happened in the US is that people have turned to black and white thinking and not realizing that there are layers and nuances. And so we're unable, in a lot of ways, there's an inability or desire to have conversations that things have to fit in a box one way or another. And it's unfortunate. So there is very little critical thinking, very little desire to have respectful discourse. And it's this soundbite sensationalism. It's crazy, right? And so for someone who is living outside of that bubble, I don't enjoy going into it because I know, right? So many people are, working jobs that, they know they need it to survive because literally your insurance is tied to your employer. And so your livelihood as a human being is tied to your job. But America keeps you tied to systems. And so to the extent that you can free yourself from that, it's priceless. It's priceless. All right. 14, adventure. Adventure is always around the corner. Traveling, exploring, embracing the unknown, like serendipity. When I think about, and I wrote about it in that blog article, if you guys have had a chance to read, on blacksuitglobal.com, it's just so amazing when I think of literally where I am right now. I created Black Suit Global. I created Black Suit Global podcast. When we had the Facebook group, we had like eight, close to 9,000 people in there. 8,000 of them, one of me. But in that was how I first connected to, Shar and Stephanie and Rashida and Adelia and, people I have great respect for. And when I had Shar on the podcast and she shared about her journey to Portugal, I was like, let me go check that out, right? Hadn't met Shar, wasn't like we had worked together. It was just like, okay, I find you interesting. I think you have a great story to tell. And certainly, that internet connection, because remember, we're still in the midst of the pandemic at that point, is one of the strongest relationships and friendships that I have. And then certainly, to that end, Emily, who has been on the channel, she was my first Portuguese friend. And we were in a course of 2,000 people. And that was the first year that they had broken us up into like affinity groups and cohorts. And it was three Black women and Emily. And yeah, she was living in Canada. I was living in the US. And at that point, Portugal still wasn't on my radar, right? This was 2020. Fast forward to 2022 when I came on my scouting trip, the first one. And I had reached out to her because I knew she had some ties to Portugal. She was like, "Oh, I'm living here." And we, from that day forward, so she attended my birthday party, frequently comes over and spends the weekend. And so like adventures afoot and serendipity, and that's just two examples, but so many good things and blessings have come into my life. And so now I can like travel to just about any country in the world. And there's obviously somebody who's either been, in my community, Exit Summit community, someplace, right? So it's great to know I can go just about anywhere and make community. And so if I can do that, you can do that too. Which leads to number 15. You really can do anything, like literally anything, if you set your mind to it. There are over 8 billion people on the planet. And while our challenges and our triumphs, right, can always feel monumental, to some degree, somebody has gone through that same experience in some form or fashion. And so that's why I say community is important. That's why I say believing in yourself, tapping into your ancestral ties, your intuition, which is something that, it's a muscle that we need to rebuild. Creating your own algorithm, plugging in the places and spaces and voices that will edify you, that will fortify you, that will help you get from where you are now to where you want to be, even if you're already abroad, right? Like I am still actively along this journey. Like I'm entering a new chapter of my life right now. And it's beautiful, right? So it's never an end. I think it's an extension, a continuation of beginnings. So that was the list. I appreciate y'all. So let me go back to let me go to the comments and see what questions y'all got. And then I'm gonna call it so I can go my butt to bed. LH said, "What? You've been in Barbados? What? Good for you." Oh man. Yes. Okay. So Jess, have I taken any cooking classes? Yes, actually. What I started doing a few years ago when I was traveling is, and I'd always wanted to do that, but something usually happened. Like I tried doing a cooking class. I think when I was in Greece, that fell through. And so when I finally did my first cooking class abroad, I think I was in Indonesia. Since then, I've done cooking classes in Italy. We did, as a Blacks at Global event last year, we did pizza making. We learned to make Napolitan pizza. And that was a fun experience. And so I love that. I love being able to like learn about different ingredients, different styles of food. And so definitely when I travel to countries, if I have time, if time permits, I'm taking a cooking class. This is definitely something I enjoy doing now. Good question. Kate Renee, what's my routine for drying clothes during the cooler, rainy months? Good question. So I am fortunate. I am in a brand new apartment in brand new building. So my apartment is energy efficient. Unlike parts of Lisbon, Portugal's an old country, Lisbon is an old city. So parts of the city, people deal with mold or sewer smell. When I was doing a couple of Airbnbs during my scouting times, I would smell certain things. And so I knew there were parts of the city I wanted to avoid. So anyway, because I have, lots of windows, great airflow, I wash my clothes and I hang them. And so instead of doing the balcony, I put them, in the apartment. And sometimes, if it's a cold month, I have the heat on. And the way these units are in the airflow, it allows my clothes to dry. Usually it's a lot slower, and by a lot means what would take a day to dry may take a day and a half, may take 2 days. But it's all about planning ahead. I haven't had any issues with mold, haven't had any issues with my clothes smelling less than fresh, thankfully. So, but I know some people, depending on where they live in the city, when it gets cold, they have to do dehumidifiers and run them. Some people put their clothes on the heaters. So we have I have towel warmers in all my bathrooms. So I haven't had to do that, but some people put their clothes on towel warmers, or go to the laundromat and drop off the clothes to dry. But it's expensive. I mean, so I've heard. I haven't done it. How long did it take to get used to the slower pace? Ooh, I think I shifted gears right away. I would say, in fairness, probably a couple months. I started taking the naps, and remember, I said like that first month I was sleeping a lot. Bailey and I were like passed out. So I think that kind of primed my body for rest. Certainly, when I was in my busier season last year, where I was going to Portuguese class 4 days a week for almost 3 hours a day, my whole schedule was out of whack. So I wasn't doing Pilates anymore because I had an injury, and I just had a lot going on. So it was, I wouldn't say sedentary. I was still getting 10,000 steps in, but definitely sitting hours, on a bus and then, in the class. It just wasn't conducive to that. And so it did take me a while to get back into my routine of my naps. I think my time in Asia in February helped. So having that month in split between Thailand and Vietnam was helpful. But the slower pace, slower life is for me. Like, I rarely know what day of the week it is. I always remember Thursday because I get to spend time with you guys. But outside of that, nah. Nah. Let's see. Did I forget anything else? Hey, how you doing, Action BJ? Yeah, come on into Black's a Global Passport. We've got now close to 30 members who have moved to Portugal, so you won't be alone. Come on in. The water is nice. Maria, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Danisha. Yes, actually, yesterday morning when I went to open the windows, as soon as I get up, I open all the windows, put all the shades up, and I smelled. It was like a campfire smell in the air, and certainly it was really, really bad in the center of the country and in parts of Spain, primarily those areas that are not by the ocean, the coast. So the interior, it's been challenging. I mean, the reality of it is global warming is real. The we haven't had rain here since April. We're now in September. So that means that it's pretty arid in that regard. And so, the shift is happening. This smell that I smelled the other day was the second time in as many months that I smelled that campfire smell in the morning. But certainly, the brave men and women that serve in the fire departments of these countries have been risking themselves to ensure that people and property are safe and that the damage is minimal. But it is something to keep aware, especially if you choose to live in the interior. Those are kind of things you have to keep in the back of your mind. Cool. All right. I said 1 hour. It's 1 hour and 40, no, 1 hour, 4 minutes. It has been fun rocking with you guys. I am about to take my behind to sleep because I have to get up in a couple hours. Uh, but like I said, I am not live. I'm going to tell you, I'm not live next Thursday. But what you will have, I'll tell you what you will have. You will have a video. So for those of you who are interested in moving to Portugal and you have fur friends, like I do, and you've been like, how do I bring my fur friend to Portugal? We are going to have a video. I've just finished recording my part before we went live. And so it will not just feature how I brought Bailey to Portugal, but it will feature 3 different people, Blacks the Global, past or present members, talking about their experience. So I brought Bailey on a commercial jet. We'll have another person talk about how they used a pet transporter who brought their animals to Portugal, who's a Black woman also, right? The transporter is a Black woman. And also one member who opted to bring her animals over on a private jet. And so they'll talk about their process, what they had to consider, what things they would do over or not. So it will go live probably around my same time, maybe, but it definitely be Thursday because I just finished recording my part. So look out for that piece of content next week. In the meantime, stay safe, be in gratitude. Thank you for rocking with me today and all these years. And I appreciate you celebrating my 2 years here. And so I hope the list of 15 is something that will at least give you food for thought. All right. Be well, y'all. I will see you 2 weeks from now. Ciao, ciao.